Tanzania marks Independence Day. Peace prevails. MCHANA hails Tanzanians, assures safety. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Nasa Kingo. Just a reminder, you can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TVC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages, all at TVC Online. The President of United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, has granted pardon to 1,036 prisoners as the country marks 64 years of independence of the Tanzania mainland. According to a statement issued by the Minister of Home Affairs, George MCHANA, 22 prisoners among them have been released today, December 9th, 2025. 1,014 prisoners have had their sentences reduced and will remain in prison to continue serving part of their remaining prison time. The clearance is in accordance with the powers vested in her under Article 45, subsection 1, subparagraphs A to D of the Constitution of the United Republic of Tanzania of 1977, based on pardon eligibility. Now, remaining in Dar es Salaam, the Minister of Home Affairs, George MCHANA, has thanked the Tanzanians for being calm and patriotic in protecting Tanzania's peace and stability as the country marks 64 years of Tanzania mainland's independence. He expressed his gratitude in the streets of Dar es Salaam when he was inspecting the state of security and safety in various areas of the region.
Siku ya leo Watanzania wameonyesha mshikamano.
Today, Tanzanians have shown unity, solidarity, and true patriotism by refusing to listen to those campaigning for endless demonstrations. Honestly, all the praise and respect go to the people of Tanzania. Our police forces' work becomes much easier when the citizens themselves are ready to safeguard their own peace. I also want to thank Tanzanians for continuing to protect the peace we have.
Furthermore, the Minister for Home Affairs urges Tanzanians to resume their daily activities as usual after marking the Independence Day mostly at home today.
And citizens should feel free to continue with their daily activities, while at the same time the police force will ensure that they remain safe as they enjoy these festival seasons all the way to the new year. I believe we will get through it safely, and tomorrow people will go to work as usual.
Remaining on the same issue of the state of security across the country, Dar es Salaam Regional Commissioner Albert Chalamila says the commercial city of Dar es Salaam is safe and returning to normalcy after the October 29th protests under close surveillance of security organs. Chalamila urges residents to continue to trust the government of Tanzania and continue with their normal economic activities.
First of all, let me use this occasion to thank my people of Dar es Salaam. And of course, as you know, Tanzania is among of the best countries that all the time will experience political stability and a smooth transition of political leaders. And of course, as we experience such a thing, in Tanzania, we have also a very stable identity by using our national language, that is Kiswahili. And of course, we do proud ourselves to inherit all these from our fathers, or from the national fathers of this nation. That means from Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere as up to now. Then let me also use this occasion to reverse it back to what happened on 29th of October, and also the expectations of different people today. Most of the people, of course, they expected also to be, the situation to be the same. But of course, I would like again to use this occasion to thank my people of Dar es Salaam being a good ambassadors to maintain the so-called peace, to maintain the so-called security, but also to prove beyond reasonable doubt that Dar es Salaam is a land of peace and Dar es Salaam is a land of everything. Then I would like again to welcome whoever comes closer to this land. Do not hesitate. Our land is very stable, our city is very stable, and nothing we expect again to happen.
Tanzania Police Force has issued a statement updating on the state of security and safety in the country for the last 6 hours, insisting the country remains peaceful and the police force continues to ensure safety of the citizens and their properties. The statement has been issued by the police force spokesperson's office, adding that the police force, in collaboration with other security organs, continues this evening and tonight to tighten surveillance against any act that may disturb the public order and safety. The Minister of Information, Culture, Arts and Sports, Professor Palamagamba Kabudi, says Tanzania mainland has made significant strides within the 64 years of independence in various key sectors that calls for every Tanzanian to feel proud of such development. Speaking to TBC News in Dar es Salaam, Professor Kabudi stressed that the future of DIRA 2050 rests heavily on the young people, which calls for investment in their skills, creativity and confidence to achieve national development vision.
Today is the Independence Day, celebrations or anniversary of Tanzania mainland, and it is 64 years since we attained our independence on the 9th of December 1961. And in the last 64 years, Tanzania, which was the poorest country in East Africa because of historical reasons, which was, for those who have read the book of Alice in the Wonderland with the Cinderella of East Africa, we have made tremendous progress. And this progress has come through hard work, through sweat, and through determination. So for the young people of Tanzania, indeed, while facing many challenges due to changes of the economy in the world, technology in the world, we should be proud of our country. This is the country which has been built by sweat and hard work of Tanzanians in the last 64 years. And this is the country which we are sure you like it so much and you are going to develop this country. And if you look on the government programs, and especially if you look at the vision DIRA 2050, because we have decided that we shouldn't translate the word DIRA to vision 2050, DIRA 2050. It is a Tanzania which will be more prosperous, a Tanzania which will be more self-reliant, and a Tanzania which the youth of today, who will be the adults of tomorrow and the elders of the day after tomorrow, will be proud to live in. But also, if you look at the election manifesto of Chama cha Mapinduzi, which won the election in the last general election, it has a whole chapter dealing with the youth empowerment. And in youth empowerment, for the first time, we're talking about youth empowerment in terms of skills, youth empowerment in terms of loans, grants, but youth empowerments in terms of enabling the young people of Tanzania to be able to organize themselves in companies and cooperatives, which will enable them now also to be part of the economy, but also
Tanzania's post-independence economic development is said to have faced immense hurdles, including harsh geographical factors, weak colonial legacy, major external shocks, limited capital and skills, all creating a fragile base against a backdrop of high societal needs. Speaking to TBC News in Dar es Salaam, retired diplomat Ambassador Dr. Msuya Mangachi said that despite all the odds, Tanzania has made major strides within its 64 years of independence.
So if you go by, you assess what has been achieved in these areas, indeed you can see that the country has transformed a lot. For example, in the area of the economy, if you talk about GDP per capita, for example, in 1961, it was $100 per capita. Now you're talking about 1,500 almost, approaching middle income levels in the country. If you're talking of infrastructure, you know, roads, which Tanzania is an example where all the regional capitals are now linked up with tarmac roads. And you're not talking about railway, which has been not only the Tazara Railway, uniting Tanzania and Zambia, but the modern SGR gauge, which is most modern in Africa. In the area of education, coming from zero university to over 80 universities now. It is indeed a very huge area of development you can be proud of.
He furthermore outlines areas that the nation needs to work on to reach its $1 trillion inclusive economy target.
You see, Tanzania, like most developed countries, is trapped in an economic model where we are still producers of raw materials. Even though we are very rich, say, in minerals. So if you can transform these minerals into semi-finished products, for example, and you can transform our agriculture and make sure that the production comes up, but also what we produce can be processed into semi-finished. You can start a lot of small industries, medium industries, which is an area which is lacking. And of course, manpower development, management of technology.
Tanzania mainland, then known as Tanganyika, gained independence from British colonial rule on December 9th, 1961. And today, December 9th, 2025, marks 64 years since its independence. As Tanzanians mark Independence Day today, Tanzanians are urged to appreciate how richly endowed Tanzania is, from its vast natural resources to its strategic geographical position in the region, adding that Tanzania's infrastructure has grown significantly over the years, highlighting the evolution of the Julius Nyerere International Airport from a single terminal to now operating Terminal 2 and 3, a sign of nation's steady progress. Speaking to TVC News, head of the Julius Nyerere Leadership School, Professor Marcelina Chiyoriga, and retired Colonel Joseph Simbakalia emphasized the need for open dialogue between the older and younger generations and safeguard the nation's unity, insisting such steps are essential to understanding the country's journey and correcting areas that may not have been handled well in the past.
9th of December is the day when we joined the ranks, if you call the people in the world. What I mean is, I did take a peek at my, I think my dad's travel documents. And at that time, he was classified as a British subject of Tanganyika territory. Not a citizen, no. British subject. And subjects are not human beings. So this is a day when we stop being subjects of some other people. We started with nothing that we could show about. If we told you what existed at that time, you'd ask the question, how did you survive at all? I always say, if you want to go and see on one page instantly, say go to Cylinder Bridge. There is still a remaining piece of what Cylinder Bridge was. That's what the British left us with after 40 years. And then there is the later days, Cylinder Bridge, which was built in 1981, 82, around that time. So that's the effort of Mwalimu and his cohort. And then you have Tanzanite Bridge. So I say in one span, you can see development of one thing. You say, this is how far we've traveled. But you can also go to Julius Nyerere International Airport. And Terminal 1 was the international airport. And that's where the Prince Philip was received coming for independence. And then some 20 years later, I remember 1982, where Terminal 2 is the international airport. Now you have Terminal 3. So I say on one page, you can see how far we've traveled. Our young people will strive to do better. And I think the biggest value of of us, the old-timers we have for the new generation, is actually to dialogue. We'll listen to them. It's not for us to tell them what they want to be, but surely let them use this opportunity to a frank discussion with us. And the highest value we have is actually to tell them what they shouldn't do in terms of mistakes. We say, we try to do this, but it's a mistake. Tanzania, in terms of natural resources, including geographic location, is, I could say, almost unrivaled in Africa. And so, you know, the future is bright, provided you work to build the future. Don't believe that there are people there who are generous, who are your development partners, or whatever they call themselves, that these people are going to work for you to work for a better food. No. You know, you'll have to make your own future.
My main message to my fellow Tanzanians is 1, peace. 2, peace. 3, peace. But I also want to add another element which is very important for us as we go, we celebrate our 64 years, love. We need to love each other. Our former father, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, he did not distinguish us in terms of tribe, in terms of religion, in terms of whatever nature. He made sure that this country is united. And we are united because of one common thing, the language, Kiswahili. Let us cherish this unity. Let us make sure that this, the way of we live. I'll give an example. I'm married to Msoma. I come from the south. And I didn't think twice. To me, he's a Tanzanian. So unity, peace, and love, this should be very important. But one important thing which I want to say, especially for our youth, nationalism, they have to be nationalist. Love this country because you have no other country to go. 2, care about your security, national security. Infiltration of the foreigners, other people in this country is becoming too. I mean, we have opened our doors too much. I'm not being discriminative of other people, but I'm saying be conscious about who is around you, national security, but also national interest. Love this country because you have no other country to go.
The Minister of State in the President's office responsible for planning and investment, Professor Kitila Mkumbo, says Tanzanian government is set to introduce a new policy to ensure that recruitment of chief executives and board members for public institutions in the country is conducted through a competitive process. He insists the initiative aims to promote transparency and allow qualified Tanzanians to fairly compete for leadership positions in public institutions. Professor Mkumbo emphasizes that starting from July 1st, 2026, once the new law is passed, executives of public institutions will be required to apply for their positions and undergo a merit-based competitive selection process.
July next year, the CEOs of commercial public entities will be recruited competitively. So you have to apply, you undergo competitive recruitment process. That is also the case for members of the board. At the moment, members of the board of directors are appointed by ministers of the responsible sector. This is going to change in a way that anybody, any Tanzanian who wants to become a member of a board of directors of any public entity will have to apply. And he or she will undergo recruitment process competitively. The purpose is to ensure that, number one, we are getting able people who are interested in joining these boards. But secondly, we want to offer a fair system so that every Tanzanian has an access to these boards. So this is the purpose.
Additionally, he reveals that the government is preparing to establish a dedicated external center focused on mobilizing financial resources to support public investment. The center will help strengthen public institutions by enabling them to access capital and enhance their business operations. Remaining in the same ministry, the Minister of State President's Office of Planning and Investment, Professor Kitila Mkumbo, says that state-owned companies that the government has invested in, but they are not financially independent and do not generate profits or do not provide dividends to the government, are in the process of being dissolved or merged to increase efficiency and productivity. Here are more details.
He said that out of 138 public sector organizations, only 56 indicate good performance and have positive impact to the country's economy.
Mashirika ambayo yanafanya vizuri.
The institutions that are performing well are those 56 in which the government holds a small share and others that are doing well. When you look at institutions like TPA, TANESCO and STAMICO, just to mention a few, we are still analyzing them to identify those with a good trajectory so we can support them to move forward. And for those that the government determines are not on the right track, we will advise the president either to dissolve them or merge them with other institutions.
Minister of Planning and Investments, Professor Kitila Mkumbo, further explains that the government will not dissolve parastatals that provide essential services to the citizens. Instead, they will continue to strengthen them for national benefits.
Tutabaki na mashirika ya umma ambayo kwa nature yake.
We will retain the public institutions which by their nature, whether they make a profit or not, are essential for the public service, such as education, health, and water. But for those that have chosen to operate commercial enterprises, we want to see them function as proper businesses, meaning they are self-reliant, self-sustaining, able to pay their own salaries.
He further explains the steps that have been taken so far. Professor Mkumbo says in 2023 and 2024, the government dissolved 4 institutions and merged 12 institutions. He adds that for the year 2023-2024 financial year, collections from investments in public organizations increased from approximately 600 billion shilling to an average of 1 trillion shilling, where this year's target is to collect an average of 1.67 trillion shilling. Currently, the government has a total of 308 parastatals, of which 170 are non-commercial. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Antonia Kivaria, TBC News.
From parastatals, we move now to the Planning Commission, where the Deputy Executive Secretary of the Planning Commission responsible for business and innovation, Dr. Blandina Kilama, says it is imperative for Tanzanian government to continue to work with young people to co-develop and co-create strategies to reach development vision goals, DIRA 2050. She made the remarks in Dar es Salaam, insisting $1 trillion economy ambition can be reached by providing deserved opportunities to the private sector, where more youth can be reached through employment and skills development.
You can see the young people really energized. They have these fantastic ideas. And I think for the government, it's important to work with them. We've started working with them. As I said, I was with them during the Tanzania Startups Week. I've had consultations in different regions, and we will continue to do that, because we believe at the end of the day, just like what young people say, we need to co-create for DIRA 2050 to happen. That $1 trillion economy will only happen if we give a bigger chance to the private sector, and not just the normal way of giving it to them, but looking at them more revolutionary. And when we say, for instance, the transformative sectors, so we say agriculture is there or tourism is there. So their understanding, it is beyond agriculture. So it is looking at the entire value chain within the agriculture and working within the nodes in the agriculture. That's where the opportunities are.
Furthermore, Dr. Kilama asserts that her commission welcomes the youth to work with them, insisting the need for everyone to seek opportunities through transformative sectors being prioritized for the next 25 years.
Several ways of engaging young people. So in one way is through engagements like the one we're doing, but the other bit is through analytics. So analyzing the information that we have from the entire country and making sure we do take on board the differences that we are seeing from different regions, and that we do a lot. So a lot of the work that we do is informed by both engagement, physical engagement like that, but it's also informed by surveys and data that has been collected representing the entire country. I think for everybody is to really plan well, look at the DIRA, look at the aspirations there, focus on the transformative sectors that are given there, and look at the opportunities. And the opportunities is not about talking about them, but really create your own personal strategy on what you can do given the opportunities that are aligned ahead.
Today, as Tanzania marks 64 years of independence, the nation reflects on the journey defined by unity, resilience, and transformation. And one of the clearest symbols of that transformation is the tourism sector, which has grown from a modest post-independence activity to one of the most powerful engines of the national development. Caroline Malewo has more details.
In 1961, Tanzania's breathtaking landscapes were known mainly to researchers, conservationists, and a small number of explorers. The Serengeti, Ngorongoro, and Selous Game Reserve existed long before independence, but the country lacked the roads, institutions, and investment needed to support a mature tourism industry. Over the years, Tanzania began strengthening key institutions, from TANAPA and Ngorongoro Conservation Authority to TAWA and the Tanzania Tourist Board, building the foundation for modern tourism. Conservation became not only a national value, but a strategic tool for sustainable growth. 6 decades later, the transformation is remarkable. Tanzania now stands among the top tourist destinations in Africa, consistently recognized on global stages. In recent years, the country has received multiple awards, spotlighting its natural beauty and world-class experiences. The Serengeti was crowned Africa's leading national park several times at the World Travel Awards. Mount Kilimanjaro continues to win Africa's leading tourist attraction, reaffirming Tanzania's position at the top of adventure tourism. Zanzibar has repeatedly earned recognition as Africa's leading beach destination, strengthening its place as a luxury and a cultural-rich global brand. And the numbers tell the story even more powerful. Tanzania is experiencing record-breaking tourist arrivals. Hotels, national parks, airports, and marine destinations are reporting an overflow of tourists, a sign of growing international confidence. The country now receives over 1.5 million visitors annually, with projections showing even greater growth as aviation expands and new marketing strategies take hold. Across the landscapes, Tanzania's treasures continue to shine. The world-famous Northern Circuit remains the heartbeat of safari tourism from Serengeti Plains, where the great wild beast migration unfolds each year, to the breathtaking Ngorongoro crater and the majestic slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro. In the south, Tanzania's hidden giants are rising. Ruaha National Park, with one of the largest elephant population in East Africa, and Nyerere National Park, the largest national park on the continent, are redefining the country as the destination of untouched wilderness. From the chimpanzees of Gombe and Mahale in the west, to the lakes, mountains, and coastal gems across the mainland, tourism has become a lifeline of communities. Cultural tourism programs now empower local groups, from Maasai and Hadzabe communities to Chaga, Sukuma, and coastal heritage groups, allowing visitors to experience Tanzania's identity while communities benefit directly. And today, as the nation celebrates 64 years of independence, Tanzania's tourism sector continues to stand as a symbol of national pride. A country that has dedicated more than 1/3 of its land to conservation, a country that keeps winning global awards, a country that now experiences an overflow of visitors from across the world. Caroline Malewo, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Caroline Malewo, for that report revealing how Tanzania's tourism sector continues to excel since our independence. Now, before we wind up the local news tonight, let us now take a look at today's exchange rate according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Well, that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Thank you very much for watching, and don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I am Nasa King. We wish you a good night and a peaceful one.